Do we need to worry about some of those diversionary tactics, especially in the light of the administration of a Criminal Justice Act?
Well, you know that the Criminal Justice Act has ample provisions for speedy trials, but we all know that laws operate with people, and no matter how much you try to get things going, people can frustrate the efforts, which is why we're making the point. No matter the provisions, even before the Criminal Justice Act, we have practice directions for criminal matters, which have been issued by the Federal High Court, the Court of Appeal, and by the Supreme Court. But did that speed up matters? Not necessarily. It helped, but it didn't speed up matters so much. And what we're talking about, we must have a clear understanding. We seem to focus always on defense. No. In our views going forward, we are talking of everybody involved. Even the prosecutor who comes to court without his witnesses is a lawyer. Why will you come to court without your witnesses? Why will you charge the case to court when you're not finished investigation and have all your witnesses and have every...
Looks like you've frozen us. Do we have him back? Okay, well, he was just trying to put out those points about the administration of Criminal Justice Act, wherein many think that, yes, we could latch onto it, but he also was talking about the fact that, yes, it's humans. People still man certain positions. Dr. Nukusi also said earlier on, the critical thing about Nigeria is that you lack service at the point of service. And so perhaps trying to see if we could tie it into all of this. But, well,
have we lost him finally?
Well, that's what we're trying to hang on to see if we could get that connection back and just put in a question or two before we call it a day from Abuja today. But
well, it's been an interesting moment for lawyers at this particular conference. A whole lot of issues have been brought to the fore, and we do hope that we can wrap this up with him as soon as possible once we get a connection with Mr. Alege. Right. The thing here is he's back. Right, good. Mark, I think you had
a question?
Oh, yes, I did. Mr. Alege, if you can hear us now, thank God you're back.
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Now, some people will say it's a good thing that lawyers are coming up with this, fantastic plan to also see what they can do in the fight against corruption. But then, some people will also say that the ball was also in the court of the lawyers a long time ago. Why is it that they did not do much to ensure that at least in the judiciary, certain things were sanitized?
Thank you very much for that question, and the question captures the essence of our conference this year, Lawyers and National Development. What we have come to do this year is to examine our role. What have we done to aid national development? And how are we fared? What failings do we have? And where do we have shortcomings? Where are weak points? And at the end of the conference, and from the way the conference is going, we are evolving new strategies, developing new ideas going forward. If we keep ruminating on our failings of the past, we are not making progress. We're not thinking, yes, we have been there, we ought to have done these things, they were not done properly, they were not done correctly. But having identified everything, we now have to formulate a plan going forward. And what I'm sharing with you today are our plans going forward.
Which is a bright thing, Mr. Alege. It's a bright and grand thing. And, there are many, many fine lawyers in the country. We have the greatest minds, people who have gone out to even help other countries develop their legal system. And so it just begins to, bog people's minds as to how it is that we had to get to this point before we decided to have this type of conversation. And how are we so sure that, if we don't answer that question satisfactorily, what's the guarantee that 5 years from now we will not be having this conversation again?
Well, I thank you for that. When you're in school, you don't do examination every day. You do exam at the end of the term. So I think this has gone on for some time. We have a new government in place, and the government has an agenda of change. And I'm sure that is creating an attitudinal change in every person. And then we're asking ourselves the question now, how have we failed? Have we done well? Have we done poorly? And if we have done poorly, how can we change? I think that, I agree with you, we could have done better. There's room for improvement always. I will not tell you that at the end of this conference, that whatever comes will be the ideal. No. It will be an improvement. We want to see improvement. But it must be a continuum.
Mr. Lege, sorry to interrupt you, but you know, because we're really pressed for time, one of the reasons why I put this question to you is because we always talk about institutions and, you know, the willpower. Yes, there must be the willpower to do certain things, but people always say we have to ensure that it's not a one-man show and, you know, things are institutionalized. If we did have the institutions, what went wrong?
Well, for us at the NBA, we have our rules of professional conduct for legal practitioners, which have been in place since 2007. The enforcement mechanism has also been in place. I don't know why some aspects have not been followed strictly, but I also know that we are widening the scope of our disparate definitions. We are moving from things you do related to legal matters to anything you do in the legal realm and anything you do as a lawyer. We are evolving to meet the challenges of the time. As things change, as things evolve, the association has to change. But I want to assure you that at the end in the NBA, everything we do, I believe, will be followed through to the end.
All right, let's close with this part. Do you think we need special courts to fight corruption?
Corruption is so endemic in the country now, and I see nothing wrong in having special courts to deal with matters of corruption. There's nothing wrong about it. If you go to the old Baileys in England, it's only criminal matters. When you go to a magistrate court here, they do rent, they do all matters. If you go to the high courts too, they have criminal divisions in many countries. They have commercial division. So I don't think creating a new court, but let us have criminal divisions in different courts. But these criminal divisions will deal with all matters involving criminality. For corruption, having specific tribunals, because it's an endemic problem now, we have to tackle it. If that's the way the government wants to go, so be it. As long as we deal with the issue, that's our area of primary concern. We have rent tribunals. We had armed robbery tribunals at one particular time. So it's not new in our legal jurisprudence to have special courts to deal with special matters.
Mr. Augustine Alege, SAN, thank you very much indeed for talking to us today.
Thank you very much. Very grateful.
All right, Mr. Augustine Alege is the president of the NBA. Well, that's the show today. We thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Osong.
Oh, thank you. I'm Many
thanks. I'm Sulaiman. See you again.